Okay, so what I've got going on here is what I was saying yesterday. I've got to try and make that. I don't have all of the part, so it's a bit of a guessing game. I've got the other side, and it looks like some of it's left. So this would be this is the inside of the windscreen, and that is that side up there. So it's that side of the window frame where the Safari joins onto, and then that's giving me all of this information on this plane, and then partially the front. So it'll give me the correct distance. This other one down here, down there, is all caved in. So it's got basically the length that I need. This one's got the correct width, and this plane looks like there's a few pieces going on there, so I'm gonna have to sort of dissect it a little bit, but I think I know what's going on, and it's all missing there. But on the back side of this one, which would be facing the other way, on the back side of this one, I've got a portion of it. So I think between the two I can sort of work out what I'm supposed to be making. I'll bring you back when I wrap my head around what's here and what's not, and I'll start laying some tape over it and just seeing where I end up. Okay, so very gently and gingerly I've beat this into submission, and there's a couple of angles that are quite critical that I've noticed. This one here, and then also this felt channel, or the rubber channel that sits against the back of the door. Now, if you look at it from however many years this hadn't been moved, there's actually indentations where certain parts of the door itself were rubbing or sitting against it and squeezed it in. So, and they're to the millimeter, so you know they're not. It looks like there hasn't been any movement. So I'm going to take that as an actual measurement or an actual point, and I'm going to find it on here, and then between the two I should be able to put it there exactly where it's supposed to be. Plus I've also got this here, and that'll give me a spatial height for this point, and I'd say that they're both the same because there's one here too. So if I line it up, I'm just trying to be very careful here. So essentially this little tiny indentation sits upon that corner right there, and then there's a bit of a joggle down, so there's a curve back around, and that's where this is here. So all being told, you should really find exactly where this goes, and that's what I couldn't do with this other piece. I didn't realize that one had more information on it. I really hadn't even looked at that part that much. This is the one that I was sort of gauging everything upon, so I was looking at this, trying to work out, you know, where it sat, and I didn't know the height. I didn't know the height this way. I didn't know this distance or this way. So I want to put that to the side now. There's only really one measurement I really want off of this, and it's probably just the radius off of that and the slight curl of the panel itself. This one over here is a bit more important, I think. So I get that, I'm just trying to do this one-handed. So you can see that that bottom 2.5 inches or so up to that rust hole, there's a slight angle change. So that's part of the door pillar, and you can see that it's just starting to fit down in there nicely. And I suppose if I just sort of go up here and get them right, I should be able to pretty much find where this sits on there. I'll bring you back when I've got it maybe taped up, or maybe I'll just put some marks on the door and leave it at that for the moment. Okay, so all I had to do was basically just clamp it in there, and it sits very good. If you look at that indentation up here, there's a definite line, and then it sort of sits onto this edge here, and you can see that they marry in perfectly. So I'm going to go with that, and unless it fits up there, no, I'm going to go with that. And if you think about it, if they fit in so well, that means that the top of that door pillar that I've made and where the old one join is basically exactly where it's supposed to be, because it sits correctly at the back too. So that's a bit of confidence for me, because I know that I'm not too far out. So I'm building up the pieces now, you know, for all of this. This top one up here I tacked in, but it's not correct, so that'll have to come out and then be readjusted. This one over here looks good, this one. So I've got the hinges, and I've got the bottom mount for the windscreen. Now I'm going to try and tape this up, and I'll see how I go from there. Okay, so on the back side of this is the plate that this channel sits on, which is this side of the windscreen. So not at the front, but at the rear. And it just seems fairly simple. It's just a flat piece. Excuse me. And then it's got about an 85-degree bend, reverse bend, and then about 120-degree bend out this way. So that's what I've got marked here. That's the piece plus the bend, and then it's a very soft radius. So I've written that down there so I don't hammer it real tight, as in this becomes very sharp. And I don't know if you can see the lines, but I just use my scribe rather than a pencil. I get a more exact mark. So this is way longer than I need, and I think I'll do that twice, so one for each side, and this time around I'm going to work two parts at the same time. So I'll be making the left and the right, only because I want to make sure these are exact. Even if they're like a little bit wrong, if they're exactly the same, then I can sort of fudge how I put them in later on. I'm going to be as exact as I can. I mean, I'm taking marks with this. This is my favourite piece of equipment. Old antique dividers. Very good. Everyone needs to have a pair, I reckon, and one of these. But yes, I'll cut this out and then I'll make some bends on it, and then I'll do two, and then I'll make some bends, and then we'll sit it up there and I'll see how it looks. There's a bit of a turn going this way. What I'll probably do is just cut it. Oh, actually, no, I could probably just change that angle there. No, I'll cut it. It'll be easier for the bending process. I think this was probably stamped out, so I've got to bend it manually. All right, I'll bring you back. Okay, so I made those two parts. The lip isn't exactly the same, but I think it's not really going to matter because it's hidden behind this rubber. So what you're looking at there is where the rubber sits on, and then that's the lip that goes up and flat across. So rubber, and then it sits on that part, it goes up, and then this part sits over it, and then it shoots through all the way to here. So I don't think that's that big a deal. I can always just fine tune it with a hammer and a dolly later on, but that gets me out of trouble there. So I've got the two of them. It's a little bit wiggly, but who's looking? Got the two of those, and I just scribed it out, and this is what I'm doing now, is marking out this. So I've got two sets of patterns going now. This one. So now I'm going to work on the front part. So this piece comprises of two pieces of steel, one at the back, one at the front, and they sort of sandwich together on either side. That rolled lip that you see there is this section here, and then what you have is a double line, and that accounts for the loss of material for the rolled edge. If you look at the rolled edge, so, and then this section here is here, and then this up to, this probably shows better. So this length here is here, and what I've done is I've marked out this tape with the radius of the bend with pencil as a thick line, and then I've got the distance for this rebate, and then there's also a joggle that goes out for, I don't know, 8mm or something, 7mm. So all I do is I take that off when I've got a soft radius like that, and I just lay it on there. And you can see automatically that let me just put something on it. So you can see automatically that that distance to there is different than what's on the tape. Now that's because of the roll that this has. This has got a profile. It's ever so slight, but it does make a difference. 1 or 2mm. So what I do is I'll adjust that now, and I'll add that distance, and I'll put it to here, and then I'll know that when I roll this, when I stretch this slightly, I'll get to where I want to be, and then I've got to mark a mark here, and then a mark here, and I've got the total width of that panel. Now the top and the bottom, which has got this radius here, I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I may make them separately. I'll draw them in, and then I don't know, see how difficult it might be. What I might do is this edge here also has a lip that comes out at the base, so through this curve here, I don't think I'm going to be able to manage that, so I won't be able to manage that lip that comes out all the way around this radius. So what I might do is incorporate this section, this flat plane, into the part, but then later on add the flange on the other side. I don't know, I'll think about it. I know I've had difficulty with this sort of stuff in the past, trying to hammer that rolled edge down, because you're actually stretching the metal out, and then you've also got to then put another radius and lift it out. I don't know, I'll see how I go. I'll bring you back. Okay, so I've decided that I'm going to incorporate at least this much plus another inch. So what I've done is I scribed that on to the template, which is this line here. I'm just trying to find the bloody right spot for it. I'm not sure how well you're gonna... It's the steel that's doing it, sorry. I'm just trying to find a spot. There we go, that's better. So that's the scribe. And then I took the measurement with this of this section here. And all I'm doing is just running around and making a mark from this point and going in. That's a lot to try and roll over as well. That's probably 15 millimeters. With a hammer, that's a lot of work. I know in the past I have difficulty. Normally 10 mils is what I do, maximum. The less the better. So anyway, okay, so my memory card was full, so I had to delete everything. So anyway, run that around. That's where I'm at. I'll do the same on this side, and then I'll try and work out this length and then do the other one. And I might actually lay the glass on, and that'll give me the angle I need, because I have no idea. If you can imagine, it's not going to be a 90 degree. Yeah, so I think I was talking about the size of the flanges. So yeah, you don't, in my experience, having a large flange like this is quite difficult to do, because you've got to stretch all of this metal, and without having to add the inner lip here, without adding this material, I can get into here with the shrinker and stretcher and actually just stretch this out, and then it'll make my life easier when I go to curl this around. So I think that's what I'll do, and then just add this later on. Alright. Okay, so I know this is a bit of a blow-by-blow account of what I'm doing, but I just thought I'd document it anyway. So you can see I've cut these two parts out, and I almost lost which one was which. So after about 5 minutes scratching my beard, I realised what was what. So anyway, they're cut out, and I've left that little flange in there. I'll have a go at it. I'm not too sure, but anyway, what I'm going to do now is the part that, okay, so this is basically that part there. So if you look at that, that's what you're looking at. Right there. Yep, just like that. And then this was obviously all missing, and through working out certain things, I've managed to work out how much more I needed and all of the dimensions. So now what I've got to do is start to put shape into the panel. Obviously it's not dead flat, and there's not much of a curl that way that I can tell. So all I'm going to focus on is getting a bit of shape this way and try and keep it as flat as I can, as in that plane, but this plane here I'm going to put some shape in it with my finger without even looking at it, because it's easier with your fingers to work this stuff out, I reckon. And you just sort of feel it with your finger, and then they're not the same. So what I've got to do is put, working from the dead center of this, stretching it down, so down, all the way up, and then not too sure there, I'll probably curl it around a little as I go, and same as here. I'll do one and then I'll bring you back and show you what I've done, and then I'll probably do the other one as well at the same time, and see how we go. It's pretty difficult. I mean, once you lay it all out, plain as the day, you can see what's going on, but to look at that, I mean, it's so harebrained, you can't really focus in on what you've actually got to do. So every single bend has to be a certain way, and I mean, I'm not a panel beater, but it just takes a little bit of time. I mean, this takes a fair while laying out stuff like this. So anyway, I'll continue on and see how we go. Okay, so what I've done is I put dimension into that, and then you can just see it as I sort of do that with the light, the play on the light. You can just see there's an ever so slight, yeah, just a slight curl. And then what I did is I tipped this edge. This is going, that edge will be the flange, so we're looking at that section, and I'll tip this edge now, and I won't make it such a sharp turn because there's a fair bit of radius there. You see the two lines, come on camera, there's two tiny lines just there. They're the definition of my radius, so there you go, you see the two lines. So yeah, I'll do that, and then try and curl that edge. I'll stretch it if I have to, but I don't really want to. And then I'll come back and try and get this one as well. So just thought I'd show you the progress. I think they're going to look pretty good up on the vehicle. Yeah, I definitely think they're going to be fine. So anyway, I'll continue on. So you get the idea. I'll continue on. I'm going to stretch this out now, and this one out now, because it won't allow me to keep going without ruining this profile. So I'll do that, bring it back.